So people usually don't read a lot, especially nowadays, and they don't pay attention to history. But when it comes to actually getting married, people usually marry homogamously, right? Marrying somebody on the same socioeconomic class, right? So if you're poor, you marry poor. You middle class, you marry middle class. You rich or wealthy, you marry rich or wealthy. You can look at the king and queen families, right? Royal families. What did they do? They married other royal families. Princes married princesses, right? Or married some high class noble. They didn't marry low class nobles. They didn't marry low class people. They might have had mistresses, like when people talk about like, oh, uh, marry and date hypergamously. Women usually can date hypergamously, but they don't marry hypergamously. Like getting pregnant and having a baby by a rich dude doesn't mean you married him. That just means you're a mistress. You're basically no different than a mistress from back in the old days, a mistress to a king or something like that. That's There's no difference than that. Especially if you didn't get the ring. And that's even prevalent today. Dudes will have baby mamas everywhere, but only marry a certain women. Why? Because if they're smart, they're only going to marry somebody in their same socioeconomic class. So we can go back to the show. Claire, and then usually whatever class if you are poor and you marry the poor person, y'all can move up if y'all do it the right way to the next class. But look at somebody like Claire and um, Cliff. Both grew up middle class. They end up getting married and moving up to upper middle class. Their daughters both married homogamously. They didn't marry people above them. They married people in the same socioeconomic class. Either with uh, Denise married someone who was in middle class, upper middle class like her, and Sandra married somebody who was technically middle class while she's upper middle class, but moved up to upper middle class. So still in the same socioeconomic class. But they did she didn't he didn't bring her down. He didn't move her down to where he was at. He moved himself up. So that's usually how it goes. And you can look at anything today. Look at this, even rich athletes who have babies by women but are not married to them. They're not more than mistresses. And if they ever do get married, they usually marry somebody in the same socioeconomic class. You look at somebody like LeBron James. LeBron James wasn't always rich. He married his wife. They come from the same socioeconomic background, right? LeBron James and his wife was not rich at all, not even middle class. What did they do? Got married and moved up to middle class or rich and wealthy together. You marry somebody in your most of the time, 95% of the time, you're gonna marry somebody in the same socioeconomic class you are in. So whatever socioeconomic class you're in, that's who you're gonna marry. And then maybe if y'all do things right, y'all can move up to the next one. But you don't just get to skip the line. That's very rare. That's for like model types or something crazy like that.